Hi, Dad. Have you ever talked to your daughter about a life plan? A life plan? Wow, you might not even have a life plan. You might be planning your next vacation. You might be planning maybe your next job. Sometimes you hope not. But this idea of a life plan for your teenage daughter, and it's maybe not that far-fetched, especially if you can get her engaged at the topic. Because if you listen to people who are very successful in sports or in other fields or in business, many times they'll say, there was a time when I was 15, when I was 12, when I was 8, when I knew I wanted to get to the Olympics, run a company, be a baseball player, be a fireman. Doesn't make any difference. But it's the idea of learning to have goals and set goals, but it's different than goal setting. It's a plan. If I want to get from A to B to C and have the life that I want, what needs to happen? What classes might I need in school? I know that's many a college student, because I was one of them, and I looked around and talked to my college friends, and they were like, well, have you filed a degree plan? A degree plan? Well, the idea was if you want to get a degree, whether that's sociology or business, you need to have a degree plan to get there, to get the credits that you need. Well, if they didn't tell me I needed one, that I had to file a degree plan and get accepted into the school of psychology, business, sociology, whatever it was, if I didn't have to file that degree plan, guess what? I probably wouldn't have a degree. So it's much the same way with your kids, with your daughter, where she's looking to decide what life would look like. When she's looking back and going, well, what is my life going to be counting for? If you can get her to start thinking about these things, it becomes very motivational for her. Motivational for you, by the way, too. But motivational for her. So if you can, without putting a heavy on her, without making it seem like, I gotta make a life plan. It's the idea of, if you're going to be a doctor, you need to have a plan to get there. If you want to live in a certain city, if you want to live in a certain way, if you want to have these kind of things work out for you in your life, it's a lot easier if you have a plan rather than letting life just show up. And that's really all I'm talking about, is having a plan and just thinking about it and say, daughter, have you thought about what it might be like when you graduate from high school, when you get out of junior high, when you get out of college? Now, it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to show up this way, because life has kind of this serendipity quality. But what I've found, and this is very, very powerful, is that serendipity quality where when you're looking for something, all of a sudden you find what you might be looking for, but you didn't realize what it was. Did I say that right? Was that a little confusing? But what I'm trying to say, if you're looking for something in the right direction, all of a sudden you'll find a whole new path that if you weren't looking for a path or on a path, you'd never find. Well, that's the same thing that happens in life planning. So if you have a plan and you're moving forward, the sooner the better, in one sense, especially depending on what those goals might be. It's a great conversation to have with your daughter. You don't have to labor it, you don't have to force it, but it's a life skill, and it's a skill that typically dads bring to their daughters. This is kind of a dad parenting deal. Not that mothers don't do this, believe me, they do. But it's this idea of giving your daughter wings. So try it, Dad. We had this kind of conversation last week where we were talking about just opening up the conversation of the future. Well, here's something concrete to do to make the future happen. Thanks for stopping by.